It's a very fluid situation, Dan. Um, I mean, I take the president at his word about the 4 to 5 weeks, but I think it's a risky proposition for him in some ways. Um, there's a lot of possibility of disruption of the economy, which he's very focused on. This could cause jolts in the energy markets. It could cause jolts in the stock market. He's very focused on as well. Um, he also hasn't really, I think, made the case in the United States for the cause of going into Iran and taking this military action. They've been a bit all over the place in the rationales that they've offered. And polling indicates that only 1 in 4 Americans really get the rationale and support it. It's also a bit risky to his base. For those reasons, I think he may want to take 4 to 5 weeks, but I would say his timeline is probably politically, in political terms, shorter than that. We'll see, but I think he might look for a way to wrap this up in a shorter amount of time than 4 to 5 or 6 weeks.
Ambassador, what we're seeing in the region today is Iran retaliating by striking targets across the Gulf and threatening shipping through the Strait of Hormuz. And as you know, it's not just civilian infrastructure. Iran has also targeted the US Embassy in Riyadh this morning, Amazon data centers in the UAE and in Bahrain, and of course, energy infrastructure in Qatar and Saudi Arabia as well. As we assess the political fallout in the United States, just characterize the Iranian response for me here. What do you think Iran's strategy is?
I think their strategy has been fairly predictable. They want to show that the regime is resilient, that despite the decapitation strategy that the US and the Israelis have implemented, that they have redundancies of leadership. They have people that can take over at various times, and they've instructed people below them to do the same, so that they have a lot of command and control structure that's pretty resilient despite the blows that they have absorbed, which are significant, both now and back in June when they hit them before. And I think what they're doing with energy is predictable as well. They want to show that they can disrupt energy markets, that they can inflict some damage on the international economy and raise the price particularly for President Trump and for the United States in pursuing this venture, and particularly in sustaining it over time. This 4 to 5, 6 weeks that President Trump is talking about, that's a lot of time for both blunders that could occur, but also disruptions to the economy that could cost politically back in the States.
It's a fair point, particularly as we come into the midterms. And Ambassador, it was interesting as well, now that we're hearing more from this administration about the end goal here and some of the objectives of this mission, the White House saying it wants to destroy Iran's missile capability, cripple its navy, stop its nuclear program, cut off support for proxy groups and other objectives as well. Do you think some of these goals are realistically achievable through air and naval power alone? President Trump has not ruled out putting boots on the ground inside Iran. Do you think that's also a possibility?
I think the goals that you just articulated are basically achievable. I mean, the nuclear program has already been, in essence, buried by the 12-day war back in June. The Iranians, according to what I've seen, have not begun enriching again. They are not able to pursue that type of program right now. We'll see where it leads, but my sense is that those goals are achievable. The problem you run into is, to what purpose, and where is it going to go down the line? Is it a permanent achievement, or is it something that is achieved for the short term? I think the problem with the objectives is that you can use coercive military force that they're doing now, but is it going to be something that is a sustainable situation, a sustainable agreement over the long term? I think that's the difficult situation that the Trump administration finds itself in. They're building this coercive structure. In some ways, they're trying to create a new state of Iran. It's a kind of nation building exercise from the exterior, where they focus on the geostrategic external facing part of Iran. And we'll see if they can use air power alone to do that. I don't think you can achieve it with just air power, and I don't think it can be achieved in 4 to 5 weeks. I think it would take a lot more than that. And it would take a lot more resources, high-level resources, the kind that we spent for years in Iraq, to make that a modest success. I don't think the Trump administration is ready to do that.
So what does a realistic exit strategy actually look like?
I think what he's going to try to do is I would call it a Venezuela strategy, and putting it in Trumpian terms, plus, 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 plus. He's going to try to spend more time using coercive military force than he did on Venezuela in order to show that it was a worthwhile venture, and to put pressure on that regime so that they will accept some of these demands that the U.S. is putting forward. I think that's what they're trying to do. And then he will try to, I think, find a leadership in Iran, maybe an Islamic Republic 2.0, as some have described it, that will accept those terms. I think it's going to be difficult to pull that off, but I believe that's what the U.S. administration is trying to achieve.